Chinese EV manufacturers are making big waves, and the United States is terrified of this, and if you knew the details, you will be too. It looks like they are targeting US automakers, and the US government is trying to fight back. You see, this is not just about cars, it is much more than that. This is about geopolitics, global dominance, and of course the future of transportation. This is a complicated thing, but what's the government terrified of, and why do they keep it a secret from us? What's happening exactly? Well, the United States blinked and China built an electric vehicle empire. In the last 15 years, China has rolled out public charging points of around 10 million, convinced millions of drivers to go electric by dangling subsidies and other incentives, and introduced over 100 electric vehicle brands with a bevy of pricing options, and that number is getting close to 137 manufacturers. This push exemplifies China's speed, a term used to describe the country's hypersonic development. The speed and scale of the shift has slingshotted China past the US and every other nation in the transition to electric vehicles, while also positioning Chinese automakers near the front of the pack to dominate the market for years to come. In both July and August of 2024, for example, industry data shows that over half of total automotive sales in China were electric or hybrid. Now, the United States quite simply is playing catch up. The Biden administration has made the transition to electric vehicles a key priority, saying that by 2030 it wants half of all vehicles sold to be electric, plug-in hybrid, or fuel cell electric vehicles. The White House has also sought to throw sand in China's gears by imposing stiff tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles, a measure aimed at protecting US automakers. But before we dive into why the US is terrified of Chinese electric cars, let's answer one question. How did China come to dominate the EV market? Well, there are three factors, and the first one is that China's rise to the forefront of the electric vehicle industry didn't happen overnight. It all began more than a decade ago. The Chinese government recognized early on that electric vehicles were not just another trend, they were a game changer in transportation, reminiscent of how Henry Ford revolutionized auto manufacturing with his assembly line in the early 1900s. The wheels began turning in 2009 when Beijing launched an ambitious pilot program called 10 cities and 1,000 vehicles. This initiative aimed to create a robust electric vehicle network, focusing primarily on public transportation. With financial incentives on the table, electric and hybrid vehicles, especially in buses and taxis, gained traction. This program established a solid foundation for the wider acceptance of EVs throughout the nation. By the time 2013 rolled around, the subsidy program had transformed, broadening its scope to individual buyers. The new tiered subsidy system encouraged consumers to purchase electric vehicles by offering bonuses based on each vehicle's range. Although the government phased out these subsidies in 2022, they had already played an essential role in spurring significant growth within the sector. But that wasn't all. The Chinese government sweetened the deal even further with tax exemptions, like a 10% waiver on sales tax for electric vehicles. This move massively reduced costs for consumers and showed a clear sign of a shift toward building a self-sustaining market, especially with the exemptions scheduled to end by 2027. Looking at the numbers, it is staggering. Between 2009 and 2023, the Chinese government reportedly invested around $231 billion in electric vehicle market subsidies, according to sources from the Center for Strategic and International Studies. These generous investments did not just help domestic manufacturers, they also placed China firmly on the global stage as a powerhouse in electric vehicle exports. Now, let's talk about economic strategies and market dynamics. China's approach to developing its EV landscape shares similarities with Japan's industrial policy during its own automotive boom in the late 20th century. The Chinese government has leveraged its centralized economic model to swiftly redirect resources toward EV advancement. This has allowed for rapid policy decisions designed to promote electric vehicle adoption while putting tight restrictions on traditional internal combustion engine vehicles. Take, for example, the licensing restrictions on gasoline vehicles, which have only fueled the demand for electric alternatives. Moreover, the colossal scale of China's domestic market has been a driving force behind its electric vehicle success. With a staggering population of over 1.4 billion and increasing income levels, the thirst for personal mobility solutions is huge. In just 2022, China outsold all other countries combined in electric vehicle sales, which is a clear indicator of its unmatched dominance in this sector. This explosive growth not only showcases the potential of electric vehicles, but also sets the stage for what is to come as the nation nation continues to lead the charge in electric mobility. But let's talk about the second factor in all of this. Battery industry. China's remarkable dominance in the electric vehicle battery industry isn't just a lucky break, it's a carefully crafted strategy built on an impressive monopoly over crucial raw materials and manufacturing strengths. This strategic control does more than just crown China as a leader in the EV market, it also gives the country a hefty amount of influence over global supply chains, allowing it to have a significant say in the pricing and availability of the batteries that power electric vehicles today. Now, let us dive into one of the most compelling aspects: control over raw materials. Imagine this. China holds the reins on a staggering 50% to 77% of the global market for vital battery components. We're talking about essential materials like lithium, cobalt, nickel, and graphite here. How did China achieve this? Well, it's no accident. This dominance comes from smart investments in mining operations both at home and abroad. For instance, Chinese companies have strategically secured stakes in numerous lithium mines across regions like Latin America and Africa, ensuring they have a reliable and steady supply of this critical material. But it does not stop there. China is not just good at extracting raw materials, they are also champions at refining them. Did you know that around 67% of the lithium produced worldwide gets shipped to China for processing? This battery-grade lithium is essential for creating high-performance batteries. This seamless integration of operations, from mining to battery production, enables China to operate on lower costs and with superior efficiency than its competitors, truly setting them apart in the market. When we look at manufacturing capacity, the numbers are incredibly telling. China boasts an impressive 73% of the global lithium-ion battery manufacturing capacity. Compare that with the United States, which holds a mere 12%, and you start to see just how far ahead China is. Major players in this arena, like contemporary Amperex Technology Co. Limited, are dominating the market, producing over half of all EV batteries globally. This massive scale not only allows for economies of scale, but also means that Chinese manufacturers can offer competitive prices that make their batteries a no-brainer for automakers everywhere. And let us not forget about the government's hefty support. Substantial subsidies from the Chinese government have been a game changer for these companies. For instance, this same company scored an astonishing $391 million in subsidies in just 6 months. This financial boost fuels rapid growth and sparks innovation in battery technology. Thanks to these incentives, we've seen impressive advancements in battery chemistry, particularly with the rise of lithium iron phosphate batteries, known widely for their safety and cost-effectiveness. By controlling both battery production and raw material processing, China can wield considerable influence over global EV markets. This dominance opens the door to possibilities like price manipulation or supply restrictions, putting competing nations at a disadvantage. As electric vehicles continue to gain traction worldwide, the risk of relying too heavily on Chinese batteries becomes evident, especially for countries that seek energy independence and technological sovereignty. As other nations, including the United States and several European countries, ramp up their efforts to build their own domestic battery industries, the challenge becomes clear. Experts suggest that these countries may require anywhere from 5 to 10 years to catch up with China's well-established capabilities. This timeline reveals just how deeply entrenched China is in the market and highlights the hurdles competitors face as they navigate the complex supply chains that are heavily reliant on Chinese resources. And these folks are the two reasons, but before we get into the third one, I want to ask you a question. Sure, these two factors are so important in the industry, but China has been doing this for so long, so what changed? Watch carefully. Why is the US scared? Well, to understand this, you need to know about the current market. As of 2024, China accounts for over 58% of all new electric cars sold worldwide, a substantial increase from just 0.1% in 2012. And yes, this did not happen overnight, but now there is a boom, and you guessed it. This dramatic growth is because of all those years China has been giving aggressive government support, the vast domestic market, and the rapid development of battery technology. For example, BYD, one of China's leading electric vehicle manufacturers, surpassed Tesla in sales during the last quarter of 2023, selling over 525,000 units compared to Tesla's 484,507. The competitive landscape has shifted so much that Tesla has reported a 20% decline in first quarter sales in 2024 compared to the previous year, with its stock price dropping by more than 25% since January. This decline highlights the increasing competition from China's Chinese brands that are not only producing affordable models but also innovating rapidly. So now that we understand how China came to dominate the EV market, let's talk about the specific features of these EVs that are making them more appealing to consumers compared to American models. First off, let's talk tech, because who doesn't love a little gadgetry? Imagine cruising down the highway with your car practically driving itself. Sounds like a sci-fi movie, right? Well, that's just a Tuesday for folks rolling in a Enyo. Their NIO pilot system packs in autonomous driving features that make your morning commute feel like a scene straight out of a futuristic flick. We're talking adaptive cruise control that knows when to slow down and lane keeping assistance that's basically like having a co-pilot who never gets tired. And it doesn't stop there. You can connect your smartphone like a pro, accessing all your fave apps directly from the infotainment system. Want to navigate, stream music, or even check social media without touching your phone? These cars got all of these and more. Many of these Chinese EVs come with over-the-air software updates. Imagine your car getting smarter while you sleep. Yep, features can be added, improved, or even fixed without a trip to the dealership. How cool is that? It's like your car is a smartphone on wheels, always learning and evolving. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about the price? Let's face it, we've all cringed at those hefty American EV price tags. But here's the kicker. Chinese manufacturers like BYD are flipping the script. With lower manufacturing costs, they're serving up EVs that are often thousands less than their American counterparts. Imagine snagging a brand new electric car without feeling like you just sold a kidney. Take BYD Han, for instance. It's packed with features and sleek styling, all while coming in at a price that makes your wallet smile. You could easily get a solid, feature-rich electric vehicle without going broke in the process. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to save a few bucks for those weekend adventures? Plus, with the rapid rise of affordable EVs, it's not just the wealthy who can experience the electric revolution. These cars are becoming accessible to a much wider audience, making it easier for everyday folks to make the switch to greener options. It's like the electric vehicle party is finally open to everyone. Moreover, battery technology plays a crucial role in consumer appeal. Chinese companies have made substantial investments in battery research and development, leading to innovations that enhance the range and efficiency of their vehicles. The use of lithium iron phosphate batteries by companies like BYD allows for longer ranges and faster charging times while maintaining safety standards. This technological edge not only boosts consumer confidence, but also positions Chinese EVs as practical choices for everyday use. Finally, design and aesthetics have also evolved significantly among Chinese manufacturers. Many new models feature sleek designs that rival those of established brands, appealing to younger consumers who prioritize style alongside functionality. As a result, the combination of advanced technology, competitive pricing, superior battery performance, and attractive designs makes Chinese electric vehicles increasingly appealing to consumers, both domestically and internationally. So what now? What is America going to do? Tariffs and more tariffs. At the heart of the ongoing trade tensions between the US and China lies a series of tariffs that were introduced to protect American industries. These tariffs aim to make foreign goods pricier, and when it comes to electric vehicles, the impact on consumers is becoming increasingly evident. If you're considering buying a Chinese-made electric vehicle, you might want to brace yourself as these tariffs are causing costs to rise significantly. And now, the United States has recently announced a whopping 100% tariff on electric vehicles imported from China, and this change is set to take effect on September 27, 2024. To give you a clearer picture, imagine a Chinese electric vehicle typically priced at $30,000. The new tariff would effectively double that amount. That vehicle could jump to around $60,000 by the time it hits the United States market. This tariff directly adds to the vehicle's price, translating into a steep increase for anyone eyeing a Chinese-made EV. For many potential buyers, this hefty bump could steer them toward choosing American-made alternatives that won't come with those extra costs. After all, why spend more when you can find something comparable at a better price? Now, let's talk about availability. With these tariffs in play, some Chinese manufacturers have decided to hit the brakes on entering the US market. The unpredictability surrounding trade policies complicates things further. Companies struggle to plan for the long term because they can't be sure about their footing with such fluctuating regulations. This uncertainty may lead to fewer options for consumers, making it tougher to find a variety of EV models to choose from. But wait, it gets more interesting. In response to the challenges posed by these tariffs, many manufacturers are thinking outside the box. Some are taking bold steps to establish production facilities right here in the US. That's right, by setting up factories domestically, they can sidestep those tariffs, offering their EVs at more attractive prices while simultaneously creating jobs and boosting the local economy. Sounds like a savvy move, doesn't it? However, let's keep it real. This shift isn't a magic bullet. Building a local production facility requires a hefty investment of time and money. It's not like flipping a switch and suddenly rolling out new vehicles. Think of it like planting a tree. You've got to nurture it and wait for it to grow before you can enjoy the shade it provides. So what is the solution China now has? Let's break it down. The only way out. Let me introduce you to nearshoring. Manufacturing is undergoing a major transformation as companies shift their focus from China to Mexico, a trend often referred to as nearshoring. This movement has gained remarkable traction in recent years, fueled by a mix of economic, logistical, and geopolitical influences, and those tariffs that are imposed by the US government. Let's take a journey back to the 1990s, a time when manufacturing operations were rapidly moving from North America to China. At that time, companies were drawn in by China's lower labor costs and readily available workforce. But oh, how the tables have turned. The landscape of manufacturing has changed dramatically since then. Currently, the difference in labor costs between Mexico and China has narrowed considerably. Today, Mexican labor costs are only about 30% higher than those in China, a huge drop from the whopping 600% disparity from just a decade ago. Can you believe that? Analysts predict this trend may soon push Mexican wages to be even lower than those in China, potentially around 30% less in just a couple of years. Plus, American manufacturers are discovering that Mexican workers often deliver higher productivity levels compared to their Chinese counterparts, resulting in better returns on their investments. But wait, the perks of moving manufacturing to Mexico don't stop with just labor costs. The geographical closeness to the United States is a huge advantage. This proximity helps companies cut down on shipping times and costs significantly, allowing them to respond more quickly to market demands. And if you're in certain industries where speed to market is essential, this is a total win. Additionally, Mexico's participation in the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement means manufacturers enjoy duty-free access to North America's vast market, giving them a solid competitive edge. Let's also touch on the maquila system, which has been operational in Mexico for nearly 50 years. This system means that companies can run their manufacturing operations with fewer bureaucratic hurdles compared to if they were outsourcing production all the way across the Pacific Ocean. As a result, Mexico is being viewed not merely as a cost-effective alternative to China, but as a strategic base for manufacturing. This shift offers both logistical efficiency and access to a skilled workforce that can meet modern production demands. Interestingly, Chinese companies are also hopping on this nearshoring bandwagon by setting up factories in Mexico. Their goal: to sidestep US tariffs on goods imported from China. This creates a fascinating triangular relationship between the US, China, and Mexico, which in turn leads to increased foreign direct investment in Mexican manufacturing. For example, companies like Manhua Furniture have launched operations in Mexico specifically to produce goods destined for the US market while cleverly avoiding tariffs. The Mexican government is also playing a crucial role in this shift. They're making significant investments in infrastructure and logistics to enhance transportation networks, which streamline supply chains even further. Overall, the strategic move towards manufacturing in Mexico is not just reshaping the global manufacturing landscape, it's positioning Mexico as a key player in the North American supply chain. So now let me ask you, isn't it right to worry about China if you were the US? And let me tell you about the third factor why China is getting this big and what seems like the final nail in the coffin for the US: war. Yes, China has started a war, but not with just prices. The electric vehicle market is currently locked in a price war. The price war in the electric vehicle market kicked off in a big way when BYD, the world's largest electric vehicle manufacturer, made headlines in early 2024 by slashing prices across its entire lineup, offering reductions ranging from 5% all the way up to 20%. This bold move sent ripples throughout the industry, prompting rivals like Li Auto and Tesla to quickly respond by cutting their own down prices by about 6% to 7%. It's like a competitive game of chicken. As a result of these price cuts going through the market, many manufacturers found themselves compelled to lower their prices too, leading to an average price drop of around 10% across various electric vehicle models. This was bad for the US market, with Chinese brands like BYD and NIO relentlessly slashing their prices. American companies are now grappling with a tough challenge to keep up, especially when it comes to cost. Just take a look at Tesla, for instance. Its market share in China took a nosedive from a solid 10.5% in early 2023 to a mere 6.7% by the end of the same year. Despite making discounts, they have just rolled out some major price cuts across their entire vehicle lineup. In the United States, Tesla has slashed prices on the Model Y, Model X, and Model S by a cool $2,000 each. That is not all. If you have been eyeing the full self-driving software, great news. Its price has dropped from $12,000 to just $8,000. Talk about a sweet deal. Now, let us take a look across the ocean in China. The updated Model 3 has seen a price cut of 14,000 yuan, which is around $1,930, bringing it down to 231,900 yuan, or roughly $32,000. And if you are thinking about a Model Y, you will be impressed. It is now starting at just $35,000, the lowest price point in 5 years. And this has led other US car manufacturers to rethink and restructure their operations in response to these challenges. In fact, Tesla has already announced layoffs and is reducing production schedules at its factory in Shanghai because sales have taken a hit. Other American automakers are also taking a hard look at their current strategies, realizing they need to get creative to tackle the competitive threat from their Chinese rivals. You know, it's not just the manufacturers feeling the heat. Consumers are feeling a little left out in the cold too. There's a wave of dissatisfaction among recent buyers who feel somewhat scammed. Why? Because the values of their vehicles are plummeting shortly after they make a purchase, all thanks to those drastic price cuts. If this keeps going on, it could seriously impact future buying decisions, not just for Chinese brands, but for foreign ones as well. If consumers think prices are going to keep falling, they might just hold off on making that next purchase. Now, what does the future hold for this market? Well, experts are already predicting that these price wars will lead to a major consolidation within the Chinese electric vehicle industry. Many of the smaller players might not withstand this intense competition. In fact, estimates suggest that by 2030, we could be looking at only about 25 to 30 surviving brands from the current mix of over 160. This shakeup could help bolster key players like BYD and NIO even more. Speaking of long-term implications, as Chinese EV manufacturers continue to push boundaries with aggressive pricing and innovation, their impact on global markets is set to expand. For US automakers, this means they might have to get creative. They could either lower their prices or really amp up their game by enhancing their value propositions, cutting-edge technology, and unique features that set them apart from those lower-priced alternatives. Additionally, we can expect collaborations between traditional automakers and tech firms to keep flourishing, which will boost innovation and enhance competitiveness, while ensuring the quality that end users expect. This means reliable performance metrics throughout the ownership experience, leading to overall satisfaction that makes drivers more likely to recommend their vehicles to others. It's all about creating great products that people love. Finally, we're likely to see increased efforts focused on building resilience within global supply chains, helping manufacturers adapt to uncertainties that come from geopolitical tensions and historical relationships between nations. This adaptability is crucial for maintaining overall economic stability, especially as we navigate these uncharted waters together. But what's your thoughts on this? Let's know in the comments. Thanks for watching. I will see you on the next video.